One of the world's most pressing issues is poverty. We've all heard of it and understood it's a big problem, but we have not come anywhere near actually putting an end to it or even slowing it down. Getting what you want from this world is never going to be easy. You always have to fight and be determined to achieve your dreams or goals, giving it your all despite the challenges you face. Money has always been something that I was scared of. It's something that you constantly need in order to have a stable life, but it's not as easy to earn as I thought. When I was younger, I just assumed I could get money whenever I wanted if I had asked my parents for some, although that's not necessarily how things were. When I started to gain a bit more knowledge about money, I became worried. I watched lots of my classmates bring cool toys or accessories to school, and I was very well envious of them. If I was so jealous, why didn't I ask my parents to buy these things for me? The main issue was I was scared that I would be asking for too much. I knew my parents didn't have much money, so I didn't want to add to the problem. You might think you know about poverty and you can solve it by giving some money and that's all. However, that is not all there is to poverty. It's obvious that these people don't earn or have enough money, but this can be much more than a one-way issue. Poverty can have factors relating to homelessness, mental health, or substance abuse problems. If this topic is so well known and people try to devise solutions, why does the problem continue to persist? We need to step up more because we have wonderful ideas or dreams that we could share with everyone. We won't end poverty in a couple of days, but we can start by reducing the number of people living in poverty. We don't necessarily need to just donate money and then walk off. We could write little cards or give donations like clothes, food, other necessary household items. These seem very simple, but it can be a huge change if more people contribute to helping out with issues like these in the world. Working together and planning well are two key skills needed to do this. I, however, have had some experience with these skills while working in the Peace Kids program. Even when I wasn't working here yet, I always got well informed on topics like these and improved my communication and teamwork skills. I would never agree to speaking in public like this, but the program has given me lots of support and enabled me to start trying my best to get out messages like these. Hopefully this message goes further from just me to you, but at least I can be more comfortable knowing I shared this with someone. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Miriam. I would now like to invite Asia Mullins up.
Hello, my name is Asia Mullins, and my topic is bullying. Everyone has either been bullied or seen someone else get bullied. But are you aware that 77% of people are bullied verbally, physically, and mentally? Victims of bullying suffer from depression and experience health issues. Bullying not only affects the person getting bullied, but also the one who is bullying them. It has been shown that kids who bully others abuse alcohol and exhibit more violent and abusive behaviors in their future relationships. Clearly, there is absolutely no benefit to the bullier or the bully victim in the end. One day while I was walking with my friends to my locker, some girls approached us and began to purposely push one of my friends. I intervened and asked the girl why she pushed my friend, but she just kept laughing. They began to advance in their bullying tactics, which eventually made my friend cry. The next day, my friend was enraged and wanted to get back at the bully by teasing her, but I suggested that wasn't a good idea. It is never a good idea to fight fire with fire because the problem never gets resolved. Instead, I suggested that my friend should talk to an adult about the situation to prevent another confrontation from occurring. I went with my friend to go talk to a counselor so she wouldn't feel alone, and the problem was resolved in an instant. Ultimately, bullying can lead to a harder life, such as children becoming homeless or even jailed because of their erratic behavior. Bullying may also result in suicide, which should never be an option. The amount of deaths caused by bullying are steadily increasing, which shouldn't be the case. The problem will never get solved if the issue of bullying isn't attacked head-on. Through Peace Camp, I have learned that peaceful solutions can remedy a toxic situation, such as talking about feelings and telling an adult when there's a problem instead of handling it alone. I have also learned how to be more open about my feelings. Prior to being involved in Peace Kids, I was never the type of person to be able to express my feelings in a good way without feeling uncomfortable. I now write down my feelings or talk to someone who I find trustworthy. One of the simplest and most effective ways to reduce bullying and detect when someone may be a victim of bullying is to ask how someone is feeling. I encourage each one of you to always ask your children about school and how they have been. Engage with your child and look for signs of loneliness, aggression, and changes in sleeping and eating patterns. Teach your children the importance of peaceful solution methods. Thank you.
Thank you, Asia. Now we'll have Keller Vasquez come to the podium.
All right, good afternoon. My name is Keller Vasquez, and I will be talking about the termination of TPS. Most of us have driven by downtown LA and seen the enormous industrial skyscrapers. But have you ever stopped and asked yourself, who are the people building these magnificent structures? Well, according to the labor statistics, 27.3% of workers in constructions were of Hispanic or Latino ethnicity in 2014. According to the Journal on Migration and Human Security, 325,000 migrants have received the U.S. Temporary Protection Status, TPS. For those of you that do not know what TPS is, it is when the Secretary of Homeland Security designates a foreign country temporary protection due to conditions in the country that temporarily prevent the country's people from returning safely, or in certain circumstances, the country is unable to handle the return of the people adequately. USCIS may grant TPS to eligible people of certain countries or parts of countries who are already in the U.S. Eligible individuals without nationality who last resided in the designated countries may also be granted TPS. Now, imagine all these people who work for these spectacular buildings losing their work permits and being forced to return to their original countries. At least 10% of that group of people are Salvadorian. On January 8, 2018, the Trump administration announced to terminate the temporary protected status for 200,000 immigrants from El Salvador living in the U.S. Unfortunately, this announcement did not receive tremendous news coverage, thus minimal action has been taken to address this social justice issue. At the age of 14, Jose spent days walking through dry deserts and over rocky and dangerous mountains to find his way into the so-called land of opportunities, or as we know it, the United States. We could hardly go a few hours without water. Now imagine going days without water. At 15 years old, Jose went through this hunger and thirst for a chance of a better life. At the age of 15, Jose started attending high school. At the age of 18, he began to work to help his parents financially. He was living a normal American teenager's life. A few years later, he met his future wife, who he later brought to the United States. They attained stable jobs and settled down. They created a whole life in the U.S. They now have 2 kids, a 14-year-old daughter and a 15-year-old son, me. The story of my parents isn't very unique to immigrant Salvadorians. Many families have gone through the same struggles to get where they are now. The removal of TPS will bring many people's hopes of a stable living very low. Many of you may be asking yourselves, why does this matter? Many families will be torn apart. Many young children will be left without a parent or even both parents. It is also very likely for those kids to go into foster care. None of us in this room could be 100% sure that those children will be adopted into a safe and stable family. This doesn't just affect families in the U.S., it even affects families in El Salvador. Many Salvadorian families in El Salvador depend on the money they receive from relatives in the U.S. who have a TPS. But with the termination of TPS, these families will lose the money flow. Another major reason will be the decline of employees who build our infrastructures. With less numbers of employees, the rate at which everything is being manufactured will slow down. This will also slow down the rate in which many businesses run. This may end up affecting us in the future. From my time of being in the Peace Kids program, I have learned many things. One of the most impacting lessons I have learned is to fight for what I believe is right and to go out of my way so that the problematic situations that I believe are important are publicly known and addressed. I have applied this lesson in my own personal life outside of the program many times. One of those times was when I was part of a strike in my school community against cheaper lunch prices. I decided to take a part of the strike because I knew many of my classmates weren't financially stable and depended on the scholarships to cover the expenses of the school. I didn't feel comfortable with the fact that overpriced food was the reason why they struggled to afford to be able to eat. We ended up having low and reasonable food prices. We can do this for the TPS situation too. We can all help by helping my voice become louder. By this I mean help me raise awareness towards this topic by joining me and others. We are stronger together. Together we can start a protest against TPS getting taken away and ensure that these Salvadorians will contribute greatly to our society's infrastructure and overall welfare, get respected, and prevent their families from being uprooted. Thank you.
Thank you, Keller. Our next peace talk will be presented by Angel Avila.
Hey, how you guys doing? My name is Angel Avila, and I'm going to be talking to you guys about bullying. Bullying is a far too common issue students face. Over 1 out of every 5 students report being bullied according to the National Center for Educational Statistics. This issue has been going on for a long time, and the government has tried putting a stop to it, yet their efforts have failed time and time again. The more the government enforces punishments, the bullying still continues to happen in schools across the country. A few reasons why some students may be bullied is there because of physical appearance, race, ethnicity, gender, disability, religion, or their sexual orientation. These students who experience bullying have a higher risk of poor school adjustments, sleep difficulties, anxiety, and depression. These risk factors are not difficulties that young students should be facing. They should be focused on the more important aspects of schooling, namely learning and socializing. When I was in elementary school, I often saw a peer getting picked on because of his ethnicity and where his family came from. And it would get to the point where he didn't want to come to school anymore and wanted to switch schools. Seeing this, I made the active effort to always be there for him whenever he needed someone to talk to or just wanted to hang out. One day when I was on my way to school, I haven't seen him for that day and the whole week. The following week, I received information from my mom that he had been moved from the school because he couldn't handle the bullying anymore. Even though I wasn't the one getting bullied, I could still see his emotions and how he was feeling every single day because I was too scared to defend him at that age. After talking to the staff and the students, they noticed how he was behaving differently and avoiding everyone who wanted to greet him. He ultimately was faced with the challenge of overcoming this pain and dealing with the depression of bullying. Students should not feel the need to switch schools, unrooting their educational due to bullying. Students should not feel victimized for their ethnicity and their country of origin. It is our responsibility to raise the youth to be compassionate and caring towards others. In order to rid bullying, we need to teach the youth to appreciate those who come from different backgrounds, cultures, and ethnicities. Through the Peace Kids program, we discuss topics about social justice, peace, and caring for one another, and reflect on their importance in today's world. Peace Kids has taught me to be a compassionate individual, and radiate that compassion onto others in hopes of inspiring them to be kind and thoughtful as well. We engage in activities with the youth to teach them to respect others, and express manners, and gain understanding of the importance of peace and compassion in our modern world. I believe that teaching the youth these ways of behaving and thinking will limit the acts of bullying in school by creating a more inclusive and compassionate community. This experience has taught me to never judge others because of their appearance, and also because of how they think differently. I encourage you all to strive to limit judging others based on how they think or look, and just allow them to do what they want to do in their lives that makes them happy. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Angel. I would now like to invite Maya Flores up to give her peace talk.
Hi, my name is Maya Flores Vega, and I'm going to be talking about overcrowded schools. How many kids do you think lost interest in school just because they were stuffed in the classroom and weren't given proper attention that they needed to truly succeed? Truth is, students aren't thriving as they should be, and that's not their fault. Peel back the layer of the peel back the layer of unengaged attitude that students may display, and there is so much more. Unfortunately, that layer will never be peeled back because students are placed in overcrowded classrooms and aren't given the individual attention they need. Increasing class size doesn't just make it difficult for teachers to ensure every student is on task, but it makes it challenging to ensure the students actually understand the material. It takes more than just "you got this" in a general "yeah" from the class. Our nation's education system is flawed, and this needs to be a greater push for a deeper connection between students and teachers. Students deserve a chance to show everyone that they can do the work Students deserve the chance to show everyone that they can do the work and that they do understand. And if they don't understand, they should have access to help them actually understand the material instead of being pushed to the next level as they struggle with the material they have now. I am currently a junior in high school, so I have had many teachers throughout the years, each leaving something in my mind to remember them, some good, some bad, but I have always remembered them. There is a teacher in particular that recently has been brought to my attention. He was my freshman science teacher, and I don't just remember him for his interesting personality and strict policies, but the way he taught. He knew what he was going to teach for the day, and he got it done, which is really hard to achieve when it comes to trying to get the attention of 30 freshman students. But now he has gone more now, doesn't seem to carry the passion he used to, and it's a shame to know that as time go on, students aren't going to get the full lecture or learn everything I did when I was a freshman. I remember the class being hard enough for many students, and know with some of his classes getting bits and pieces, I can't imagine now. The class helped me see how much I really liked science, and the following year I took AP Chem, and not because I was amazing at science, but because I knew I wanted to learn more about it. As the class sizes increase, it becomes more harder for students and teachers to make a connection with each other. The connection is important because it lets students know that they are not just a face in a classroom or just another student teachers need a lecture to. This connection helps students as well. It allows them to know that students may be struggling with the best way to help them. It is also important to keep class sizes down for teachers because it makes it easier for them to make sure that they are on task, but also our teachers are getting worn out much quicker and losing the passion they once had when they first wanted to teach. Teachers can't teach well and keep students engaged unless they are engaged in the material themselves and truly love what they are teaching. All of this is important because school is the beginning of our civilization, and school starts a foundation for students to go out in the world and succeed. Kids are our future, so the foundation they make at school doesn't just help their future, but everyone's. As a youth intern in Peace Camp program, the tables have turned. Now I'm in a position when I work with a teacher position where I work with the kids. Now I have a much better understanding of the responsibilities and work teachers put in every day. Trust me when I say they make it look easier than it actually is. I've always had a degree of knowledge to what teachers must do every day because I see my parents do it every day through their teaching position as they grade assignments, create lessons, and make lots of copies. The students also don't realize how much work is put into it. They don't understand, so they may not have the respect for teachers that they, and for teachers and what they do. That's why more programs like this one, they do not understand, so they may not have the respect for teachers and what they do, and that's why more programs like this one would be more beneficial. It will not only show them a possible career option, but show them all the hard work being put into teaching. Sometimes students forget that teachers are humans too, expecting everything to go perfectly in the way they think it should. But it's very unrealistic. Hopefully, with these programs, they will see that and rethink how they may act in class by giving more patience and understanding what they do. Thank you.
Thank you, Maya. I would now like to invite Mark Mendez up.
Hi. My topic is on the access to education system for Hispanics. We all deserve access to a quality education. In the United States, we need to be taught the basics in order to be successful. Como Latinos, no tenemos los beneficios que otras familias tienen en este país. As Latinos, we don't have the same benefits as other families in this country. We are looked down upon, and in the case of immigrant families, we are persecuted. Now more than ever, we need our children and ourselves to be well educated to defend ourselves in this country and to become respected and successful citizens. We must motivate our young to use their education and create changes in the world as adults for the better and equal treatment of everyone. Growing up, I was in a class with other kids, all of whom were Latino, and most whose parents were immigrants. Like myself, we all saw how hard our parents worked, and yet we struggled with school because we didn't have anyone at home to help us with our homework and our studying. It got more difficult for many in middle school, thanks to our changing bodies and mentalities. So many students became depressed and began self-harming, whether that meant cutting themselves or just hating the person that they were. And it was all because the expectations from everyone in their life became too much. How could we live up to these expectations when we had so little resources and help from the teachers at school? In what ways could we make our parents proud when what we do seems so little compared to what they do for us? Luckily for me, high school came and my opportunities increased. I began taking college classes and I joined clubs. They helped me grow up as a student and as a leader. Most of all, I became the person that I am today because of Peace Camp. Thanks to Susie and the rest of the staff, I became more aware of the problems all over the world that also affect us. I was given the opportunity to become a leader by being a youth intern. I know that I am lucky because other students don't have the same opportunities that I do. Other Latino students can't afford to participate in such activities because they have to work to help out their families with expenses. As a community, we must come together to help each other out. We must look for programs in our cities that help families who are struggling, keep our children from joining gangs and doing drugs by finding them after-school programs, sports, and if necessary, jobs. For those of us who have the power to vote, we must elect people who understand what we are going through and who have our best interest in mind, instead of politicians who are easily bought away by companies and others. We must encourage our children to dream big and to aim for college so that they have the tools to change the world in the future. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. The people united will never be defeated. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Our last peace talk will be on video. It's of Brittany Avlar. She unfortunately couldn't make it to the event today.
Hi, I'm Brittany, and my topic is on depression. It's not easy to understand something you don't have. You can try to understand through listening to others' recollections, yet unless you experience it, you simply cannot fully understand it. This is true for depression. You won't understand it unless you have it. Knowing someone who has it doesn't count because you don't know what it feels like. Nevertheless, I'm doing this to share the prevalence of depression and hopefully raise your awareness of this mental health disease. In 2015, the World Health Organization reported that 350 million people worldwide suffer from depression. In fact, many people I know suffer from depression, yet we each experience it differently. We've all been through different things, yet we're all diagnosed with the same thing. The textbook definition of depression is feelings of severe despondency and dejection. Despondency means loss of hope. Dejection means having low spirits. It's challenging for me to put my own depression into words. Personally, I probably wouldn't use those exact words from the definition. I chose to discuss this social issue today because I didn't want to write and present this talk. I had no motivation whatsoever, and then I wondered why. And I realized this was something I wanted to raise awareness about. Yes, depression is a common mental illness, but unfortunately, many people overlook mental illnesses, even dismissing it as an actual illness. Oftentimes, people who do not have depression will tell you to just be positive. Think happy thoughts, or my all-time favorite, a lot of people have it worse. That's my favorite because I guess people genuinely believe that phrase snaps you out of it. Well, if you've ever said that, I want you to realize it did absolutely nothing for that person. I recognize that everyone has their own problems, some that may be perceived as 10 times more difficult than what I'm going through. Yet that shouldn't mean I'm not entitled to the feelings my troubles bring. A lot of times, parents will simply tell us that we have nothing to be sad about. They shut us up instead of seeking the help we need. I notice when my entire family is happy and enjoying themselves, and my depression brings them down, they'll ask me why I'm so mad or tired or upset all the time instead of enjoying myself. And I don't have a clear answer except that I can't. No, it is not because I'm an angsty teen. It is a mental state that I simply don't know how to snap out of. One of the root issues of mental illness stigmatization is the notion that if you can't visibly see it, then it can't possibly exist. I'm here to tell you that this is false. Just because you can't see my problem physically doesn't mean it's any less real than if I had a visible illness. You can't really fix depression. It is a chronic illness that comes in waves of episodes throughout life. However, I would like to put it out there that you can do your part by trying to be more understanding of those suffering from it. And please do not belittle their feelings. Yet that alone isn't enough. You can do your part by learning more about depression, so as to prevent from saying ignorant or hurtful things to those dealing with it, and instead be able to advocate for them. This illness should be treated as any other, not only when the actions that are produced from it are dangerous or inconsiderate to the person with depression or others. Through my experiences at Peace Camp, we have emphasized that personal feelings are important and justified. You are allowed to feel as you please, and we're all here to talk about those feelings and make sure that the actions that come from them are helpful, peaceful, and respectful to yourself and others. These types of relationships and behavior are valuable for individuals suffering from depression, and I encourage you all to consider them when engaging with anyone who has mental